A very good morning, everyone. My name is Amutha, as introduced, and I'm from Big Ideas Providers in Embrahat. I was an HR professional and doing still, as we are running consulting company for HR, and I'm an entrepreneur now rather than in a workforce. Okay, I'm here today to share about the importance of mental health and wellness as part of critical part of workplace belongings. Okay, and before we start, let's think about a moment where, when was the last time you have walked into a meeting and while dealing some personal crisis within yourself, right? So what was that? It can be your emotional, it can be some family issues, it can be even work-related issues, right? But during this intense period, what was your thoughts? How overwhelming it can be that somewhere or other you have to manage your thoughts and your emotions and step into a meeting like nothing happened, right? So what you all did just now at the end, before you stepped into the door, what you all did? Anyone? What you all did at the door? Breathe, right? Yes. Did you all check out something while entering this door into the meeting, before you enter the room? No? Everybody happy? Come here to just to listen up to our discussions and forum, right? But in most cases, we checked out at the door. We put a mask to say that, okay, I'm fine. I'm just going to be fearless, even though I am inside, right? And I'm just going to act that I'm doing my job, right? I cannot show that I'm emotionally overwhelmed, that I cannot show my company that the sign of weakness, right? So the evidence that shows that I couldn't handle my responsibilities, right? So this is actually what's happening now, right? Last month, I was conducting a Train the Trainer program. Okay, Train the Trainer is a program that we conduct to train or to create the trainers, right? To groom them, right? So during that program, one of the participants came to me and told, I'm overwhelmed and I'm worried that my company will identify that I'm incompetent. So when I told her what make you to think, what make you to do, think in such a way, then she said she have a lot of things that going on her mind, and every single time, especially on Mondays, she don't feel like want to come to work. And Sunday is an anxiety for her because she said, she was thinking, oh, tomorrow I have to go and report myself, that as though I'm normal, right? So that happens in everyone's life, whether we acknowledging or not acknowledging it, right? But we are here, right? The truth is that you cannot truly hide anything that's happening where you want to feel truly belonged in your workplace, right? You cannot truly belong in a workplace where you have to hide who you are, okay? So belonging is often mistaken to say that it's a culture fit, right? So does this person match our company personality? But in reality, belonging is a psychological safety to be authenticated. Right? So when organization ignore mental health, it unknowingly tell its employees that you are not welcome here when you are only welcome here when you're only perfect, right? You are welcome here when you can be productive. When you don't have problems, you are open to welcome into our organization. So this is the opposite of belongings, actually, right? So here is what makes more concerning with current survey, it's not current, in 2024, McKinsey Health Institute calls this condition as perceptions gap, where it shows 96 companies believe they are doing good in mental health, right? But whereas only 27 of their employees, given the employees agrees that the employer are doing something, right? So nearly all the organizations are thinking they are getting it right, but only 1 out of 4 employees are supportive in this. We aren't suffering from the lack of perks, right? That is their thoughts. We are not suffered because employers are not giving enough benefits, enough perks, but they are suffering from the lack of integrated, supportive culture within the organization that makes mental health, wellness as part of belongings. The question that we need to ask ourselves is that how can employees feel they belong to the workplace that doesn't acknowledge their self, right? So including their mental health. So let me share the reality that should concern us from both as HR professional and as a human beings. Okay, mental health is not just human resources issue. It's actually an economic issue because World Health Organization in 2024 data show that almost 12 billions of working day are lost annually for depression and anxiety. This cause is actually the economic global range roughly 1 trillion in loss of productivity, right? But according to the National Health Mobility Survey from 2019 from Malaysia, around 29.2% of adults are experiencing mental health challenges. This is almost 1/3 of our workforce potentially struggling in silence. So the specific cost for Malaysia estimated for 14.46 billion in terms of productivity losses every year. So even during one of my other programs, we have discovered something concerning. We conduct training need analysis for one organization. When we ask employees what is their biggest challenges, over 60% didn't mention it's about skill gap or technical gap, but the only thing they talk about is about stress. It's about how burnout they are. It's about feeling undervalued within the organization, right? And the constant pressure of appear to be fine in front everybody or wherever they are, right? So one of the young employee in his 20s, he admit that he's under stress and is on medication to suppress that. And he actually didn't want to share with anyone, thinking it will actually, the management or the bosses will think that he is unable to take additional responsibilities, right? Then another shares that during a lunch break, she preferred to have lunch at her workstation and do her work throughout the lunch break because she don't want to go to the pantry and be ignored by certain colleagues of her, right? So, but there's the most concerning issue where in Malaysia, we have 68% could not disclose that they have mental issues with their employees because of the stigma that they are facing, right? More than 2/3 of our workforce rather suffer in silence rather than ask for help, right? So however, the data shows a way out, right? Every $1 invested in effective mental health, right? And intervention, organization see an average return of $4 to $5 in terms of reduce absenteeism, lower the turnover rate, and higher engagement. And also, according to the Deloitte Mental Health Report, or WHO's research, it shows that employees who feel the organization is supporting them, they are 5 times more likely to recommend that their workplace is the best place to work, right? Another crucial issue or concern is about mental health, right? Do you all know what is mental health? You know, like women come back after their pregnancy or maternity leave, right? So one of the 5 new mothers that globally experience postmortem depression and anxiety, okay? In Malaysia, we have roughly 63% of women continue working during pregnancy and the postmortem period, and this represents a significant portion of our workforce, right? Out of that, only 12 Malaysians workplace have specific support system for mental health, okay? Recently, when I come across one of the organization, that one of the staff, she feel very stressed. Why? Because she said she don't have the space for pumping her breast milk, because she have to go to the washroom or toilet stalls to do that, because the company did not provide a lactation room for her to do that. Okay, this is additional stress that she's going through. Okay, yeah. So she feel the company, she feels that she didn't feel that belonged in a workplace that treated pregnancy as a brief medical event, because rather than they treat pregnancy as a significant life transition required during mental health support, right? Being in HR role is very, very crucial that mental health need to be addressed, as we are not only there to handle or to give away employee assistance brochures after a crisis, like HR say, okay, we are offering yoga class, we are offering team lunch, we are having maybe a gym subscription for you guys, go and release your stress, right? So this is not what we call mental health support, okay? When the term well-being washing, right, offering a very surface level perks while the underlying overloaded toxic situation or the culture remain the same, and the systemic issues remain unaddressed, right? And I've seen this firsthand for one of the companies that I have consulted before, right? So when we supported them in terms of how to make things better, in terms of designing their mental health policy, right? So we have actually suggested to them giving a mental health day, and it's like a paid day, and it's not recorded, right? And it sounds progressive, right? But when I do the data analysis, employees were taking less time off than before, because they fear being seen uncommitted and not a team player. Okay? So the policy existed, but the psychological safety did not. This is a failure of a well-being washing, right? So we have the 3 framework that we talk about in terms of how HR can be an architect in your organization, right? The first one, we talk about protection. When you talk about protection, it's about removing the psychosocial hazard. Yeah. And what is psychosocial hazard? Anyone? It doesn't work like that. Psychosocial as a hazard is about unmanageable workload on being unrealistic deadlines and so on, right? So that's about protecting means creating policies, enforcing standard, and prevent this hazard in the first place. The second one is about promotion, okay? What are we going to promote? We're going to promote by building resilience and a support system within the organization, right? How are you going to do that, okay? The employers actually can train managers to be the first psychological first aid, teach the managers to identify and recognize warning signs for mental health. And we also talk about, the second one is about peer support network. Create a peer support network within your organization that these employees can go and seek some help, right? And the third one in the three pillar is about normalizing conversation. Nowadays, mental health seems to be a term that people think. The moment you say, I'm stressed, mental health issues, employers will be thinking, should I hire you or not? Should I have you within the team, right? Because I don't want you to come in and make a mess with my existing so healthy teams, right? So that's another part of it. And the third part of the pillar 3Ps are provision. Is right. Okay. Provision. Provision is about being clear, right? Confidential and stigma-free access to help. Within the organization, we have to ensure that someone needs professional mental health support, and we are not professional, okay? But managers can be trained to identify the cues of the mental health so that they can be referred to someone professional to handle them, right? So there are also findings that HR professional will sit up for this, but anyway, research from Workforce Institute shows that manager has as much as impact on an employee mental health like their life partner or spouse. Right? So think about that. The person who come in and say, okay, the moment I come and see you in my office, I feel like I'm talking to my spouse, right? That kind of stress that I'm having, right? But this is just a critical gap. The HR must be equipped with the program that are conducting. HR must be equipped with programs that they can identify what is mental health, right? That's one recent program that I conducted. 30 HR employees came in, right? And when I asked how many of them recognize how to check on the cues, only 3 carry their hand, says that, okay, they agree and they're aware about mental health, right? Yes. And the last framework that I would like to share is about mental health responder programs that we are conducting. So the mental health program that we are conducting is about a simple thing. Managers in your workplace should notice, ask, listen, and support and refer, right? So you notice for the changes in their behavior. You ask the genuine question to ask them, what are they feeling today? Listen to without judgment, without trying to fix, because we are not professional unless you are certified. And support with empathy and flexibility, and refer to the appropriate professional for support, right? So in a nutshell, right, when we want to have a proper workplace, a better workplace that everybody feels supported, feel welcome. So it's very crucial for organization to start doing what they're supposed to do in terms of train their managers for the mental health preparation. Right? We look at the future of work. The most successful organization don't have ones of employees, or don't have their best technologies or fanciest office or the most impressive perks, but they only need, what the employee need is just a psychological safe in terms of people who can feel that they truly belongs in the organization, where they can be authentic of their self, who knows that their mental wellness matters as much as their productivity, right? I will leave you all with 5 steps, practical steps to take note when you all go back to the workplace in terms of setting up what need to be done within your organization. Start measuring the perception gap. The second one, train your managers. The third one, audit for psychosocial hazard. Have you all heard about ISO 45003? Yes. So you can use that framework to identify and address systemic issues causing mental health harm. Create a multiple pathway to support everyone, and also model from the top, right? So I'll leave you with this question. Does your organization culture require a must, or does it require to offer a seat? Okay, does it demand that people need to hide their their struggles, their humanity, their whole self, or does it make it genuine space for people to belong as they are? Right. So, in a conclusion, as a HR professional, we have the power to create this workplace. We design the policy, we shape the culture, and we influence the leadership. Right? So will we use the power to build organization where everyone, truly everyone, feel they are belonging, right? So if you want people to bring the best ideas, their loyalty, their fullest creativity, we must first ensure that they feel safe in, even though they, and bring themselves whole as a whole to the organization. Okay, let's stop trying to fix the workers. We start by designing the work to be more human. Thank you.